Welcome to our open session on January 31st. First of all, we would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Robinson Superior Treaty Territory and that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and the Métis. Do we have approval of an agenda? I have two reports to add on from the treasurer, and they will go under committee of the whole department reports. 16 will be treasurer report, property tax arrears analysis, and 17 will be treasurer report, rec committee reserve fund transfers for the fiscal year of 2022. Hearing no more, is there any disclosures of interest? Hearing no disclosures of interest, move on to delegations, and we have no delegations, so we'll move to question period.
No questions.
And you got no questions. Okay. Minutes of the previous meetings. Resolution 17-23. Moved by Councillor Bourgeau, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that the minutes of the council and committee of the whole meeting held January 10th, 2023 be accepted as circulated. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes of the January 10th meeting? Hearing none, committee of the whole recommendations. Resolution 18-23. Moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that council approve the expenditure request and approval to proceed from the Ontario Clean Water Agency for Schreiber wastewater treatment plant clarifier drain and inspection, the amount of $8,139.99, including applicable taxes. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 19-23. Moved by Councillor Bourgeau, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that the discount period for the purchase of 2023 dog licenses be extended to March 31st, 2023. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 20-23. Moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that the 2023 Winter Carnival be held from February 23rd, 2023 to February 26th, 2023. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 21-23, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Bergeron, that the 2023 Heritage Days festivals be held July 20th, 2023 to July 23rd, 2023. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 22-23, moved by Councillor Bergeau, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that council approve the attendance of Councillor Bryson and Councillor McGrath at the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing New Council Orientation Session to be held virtually February 10th, 2023, and that the expenses be paid as per township policy. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 23-23, moved by Councillor Bergeau, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that council approve the attendance of Councillor Bergeau, Councillor Bryson, Councillor McGrath, and Mayor Mullins at the Thunder Bay District Municipal League 2023 Conference and AGM to be held March 23rd, 24th, 2023 in Thunder Bay, and that expenses be paid as per township policy. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Accounts for payment. Resolution 24-23, moved by Councillor Bergeau, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that bank debits paid out of the general bank account in the month of December 2022 in the amount of $45,231.71 be approved and ratified. Discussion?
Just one quick question. The photocopier and admin, there's no lease payment?
Yes.
Or they just didn't take it out in December? I have the library photocopier, but I don't have the photocopier and admin.
It's quarterly.
Quarterly?
It's quarterly.
Thanks,
So
Marlene.
it should come out it'll come out in, I think it's January, April, July, and October is the municipal complex, and the library copier is monthly.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 25-23. Moved by Councillor Bergeau, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that council approve the attendance of the E. McGrath at the mediation session held January 12th, 2023 in Thunder Bay, and that expenses be paid as per township policy. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 26-23. Moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Morrow. That council approve the payment of Hollywood Flame Sportswear invoice 2321-37 in the amount of $146.22, including applicable taxes, for the gift for the 2022 Citizen of the Year. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 27-23. Moved by Councillor Burgeot, seconded by Councillor Morrow. The council approved the appointment of Chelsea Camiso to the Schreiber Public Library Board for the term of council ending November 14th, 2026. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 28-23. Moved by Council Morrow, seconded by Council McGrath. That council approved the appointment of Kathy Cook, Mary Majot, and Melanie McKenna to the Recreation and Festivals Committee for the term of council ending November 14th, 2026. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried.
It's nice to see community members coming back to committees.
You betcha.
Especially that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a busy one.
It's a busy one, you're right.
Resolution 29-23. Moved by Councillor Burgeot, seconded by Councillor Morrow. The council adopt the Township of Schreiber Asset Management Plan 2022 as prepared by Public Sector Digest. Discussion?
With Nathan and I think I followed up with you about the best way to use this asset management plan, and Nathan had indicated that it would be a big part of our strategic plan.
Okay.
I think a key part moving forward is all these plans that we do, whether it's asset management plan or the investment consulting plan that we did in the past, to incorporate them as living documents into a strategic plan going forward, so we can pick and choose the key goals and focus areas that we want for these plans and put action items into implementing them. We are working in terms of finding funding for a strategic plan,
Yeah,
looking at multiple avenues for that.
they'll all fit together.
Right.
They're not standalone. They'll all mesh. Good idea.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Resolution 30-23. Moved by Councillor Burgeot, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that bylaw 2-2023, being a bylaw to constitute and appoint a committee of adjustment in the Township of Schreiber, be given first, second, third, and final reading and enacted. Discussion? All those in favor? Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I wonder if Nathan could just briefly, for people watching, explain what a committee of adjustment is.
The Committee of Adjustment exists for dealing with predominantly any requests for, would you say, zoning variances that may stem out from our zoning bylaw. So there are a certain number of tests for zoning variances, and we usually typically get a planning report that accompanies it. A planning report would be brought forward to council, and in Schreiber, we're putting the councillors here as the members of her committee of adjustment, and part of this role is to determine whether that variance is minor or not in order to pass it. So it's an important role to play. Again, anything within the Planning Act can be ultimately challenged and ultimately brought to the Ontario Land Tribunal. So there's quite a bit of weight in these decisions that you do make here. Part of the bureaucracy all pertaining to land use planning in Ontario. Also, our inscriber, your committee of adjustment is also the same as your property standards committee, which we had passed in the previous bylaw.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks for that. All those in favor? Carried. Bylaw 31-23. Moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Burgeot, that bylaw 3-2023 being a bylaw to authorize the Township of Schreiber to enter into an agreement with His Majesty the King in right of Canada as represented by the Minister of Infrastructure and Communities, Hobbit's Corner to Schreiber Beach, Trail Engineering and Feasibility Study, and to rescind bylaw 36-2022 be given first, second, third, and final reading and enacted. Discussion?
This again was in order to fix a bit of paperwork. The original agreement that we had was not yet executed by the province, and that was originally with the Queen, so it had to be updated now with the King. And ultimately, we had to bring it up again and
Okay.
get the bylaw processed
That's the
again.
only change.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Nathan. All those in favor? Carried. Sign first. Okay, we'll move on to Committee of the Whole portion of the meetings. We go to the department reports and committee / board minutes. Director of Operations report, the status update.
Tammy, if there's anything you want to...
It's just you'll see further in the agenda, we were inspected at the Schreiber drinking water system, so you'll see the report in there. The HVAC heating issue at the municipal complex is moving along nicely. We are now 100% on propane now. Both boilers are operational, and the small oil furnace has been removed. We expect Cloud Darling here. Actually, I would have expected him yesterday, so I have to call him tomorrow to find out what the new plan is. But I expect them here to start on the controls, to replace the pneumatic controls over to digital, and that'll give us better heating control in that part of the building where it's very warm. We're quite comfortable in the L shape now. So that all went very well. We never suffered any downtime as far as
That's, I
no heat
wanted to
goes.
say, Tammy, that was amazing to, in my books anyway, to complete that task without any major interruptions in the workplace here, and not one day did I find it cold. The staff might differ with me, but no, I mean, all joking aside,
Yeah.
without any major interruptions.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, not the best time of the year to.
No.
It wasn't ideal, but Cloud Darlene really did step up,
Yeah.
and the fella that we had here was really good.
So how do they control the venting in the building? Is it automatically controlled, or do they set it up?
The venting or the
The
circulation of heat.
circulation, yeah.
It's all going to be in zones, and each room will have their own thermostat. Right now it's on pneumatics, which is an air compressor, and that's just as old as what that 1963 boiler was. So we should see some improvement with controls in the different areas as well. As well, with that new system will come a new computer web-based system where we can better control the airflow.
Yeah,
Nice.
so where do we ship all that old equipment? What museum wants it?
Well, the old boiler will stay in the furnace room as a
Yeah.
shrine. And then the outdoor rink has been open for use. I think they kind of got behind with that last snowstorm on Friday, but we're still aiming to get that going again. And you'll notice that all the Christmas decorations are gone.
So Tammy, with that outdoor rink, are there any plans to advertise that outdoor rink opening on Facebook to say, hey, come on and use it?
The rec programmer usually does put a post on there. We were struggling for a while with advertising it based on the weather fluctuations, and it was good
Right.
one day and not the next, good the next day, not the next, sort of thing. Now that we're caught up in the town, we'll go and make sure that gets cleared of the snow, and with these temperatures, we can advertise it for sure.
And I'd like to say that I don't think there's any streetlights out in Schreiber. Now, I said that to Tammy about 2 weeks ago, and we got a call the next day
Oh,
that there was a street light out for 2 years down at the end of Main Street. And I looked down there all the time, because I live right on the corner, basically. I never knew there was a street light on the end pole. I mean, that's not my fault or anything, I'm just saying that. So if you see a street light out, people, let us know. It's, I believe every street light in town now is working, but
for today.
for today. So we get a call tomorrow, prove me wrong, that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll get it fixed.
Indeed.
And before we move off this, Tammy, I want to thank you for the tour you gave us that day. That was really interesting. I
Oh,
enjoyed
good.
that.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed that.
Okay, I guess we'll move into number 2, the MOE's inspection report.
Boyko.
There's a lot to these reports. I have gone through the report with a fine-tooth comb. I've been in communication, as you'll see in your attachments, with Aqua. They were very good at answering some of the questions. Essentially, our issues are the HAAs and the high turbidities during the springtime. But we're working towards rectifying those. But this is a far better report than what we've seen from 2021.
Okay.
Whatever happened to the percentage, remember?
What percentage?
They used to give you a percentage out of 100.
Oh, your score. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's no longer.
That's no longer,
Yeah.
that's gotta be the first report.
Yeah.
You didn't say, hey, there's a no score on us.
You'll see in there that one of the things that we were being asked to do is to identify the operator in charge for distribution. And that was never part of our logbooks here. It was just assumed that, like our operators all know, that it's the foreman on duty that is always going to be the operator on charge during our off hours, weekends and holidays. They asked us to make it more formal, so we've issued an internal letter identifying who the operator in charge would be, and he was quite happy with that. He also identified the snow removal at the water storage tower, and he agrees that if we kept it plowed, allowed Mother Nature to do her thing, it would just, be a shiny sheet of ice. So we have better opportunities of getting up to the tower if we plow it in the moment, and at least then we'd have the snow for traction. And he was okay with that as well.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions, Tim, but anybody else?
Go ahead.
The, some of the compliance concerns, it seems to me, there's a couple of them based around this whole filter performance assessment.
Yes.
Yeesh. So,
The filter performance assessment is what's responsible for the high turbidity numbers. You cannot be over 1 NTU for more than, I believe it's 15 minutes, and we exceeded that on occasion, specifically in the spring. So that is part of what we have been mandated to do the filter optimization study.
so more on that, because that seems to be the answer to that, right? We had that filter performance study that was going to be done. Has that been booked for 2023? I think you told me it was,
It
right?
has to happen this year.
It has to, right?
The Aqua has their Aqua engineers booked, and is going
So
to
does
be a year-long process because they want to study the characteristics of our source water as the seasons change. It could be as simple as a change in chemical use for coagulation. It could be a change in filters. We just don't know how that's going to, what the results of that's going to be.
But this is in the plan, right? So that we
Yes.
can meet that deadline.
Yeah, they are executing that plan now.
So you might have to change out the whole filter or just all the media?
We're really hoping not. It could be just as simple as the coagulant. They think that different coagulants will react differently in creating a flock, be stronger when it goes through the filter. So they're going to try the different jar testing. The challenge was to mimic the pressure filters. We are quite unique in having pressure filters in our plant. So they have come up with a process that will mimic our plant, and they feel confident that they can determine what's going to best react with the characteristics of the source water.
And why did they want you to have more than one filter backwashing at once?
Well, what happens in the spring when we have that spring turnover, the characteristics of the water really present a huge challenge for the filters. And you can only backwash a filter one at a time. The other 4 need to stay online.
How long does that take to backwash?
It takes anywhere between an hour to 3 hours to backwash.
A lot of these requirements stemmed out of that NTU event that we had, that spike. I believe it was April 2021.
Yep.
Fortunately, it wasn't an order to comply, but the requirements for the filter performance study were put into our drinking water license, and that's essentially whatever recommendations stem out of this, we're going to have to, I believe we have until 2026 to
Implement
Implement them.
whatever
those
results
recommendations.
come out of this study.
So it is a bit of unknown that we're going to have to contend with.
Now, the external visual inspection of the storage tank, seems to me like you handled that. I mean, but there was just stuff in here off and on about filter performance.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I had in here, I was looking through all your emails and stuff, is just kind of clarify something for me, because when we did the tour, we talked about pre-chlorination. And from what I got, and I think maybe I'm reading this wrong, is it may be possible to decrease pre-chlorination, given some factors. Am I wrong?
Yes, that comes down to that smart meter that you'll see in the Aqua
Right.
capital list. If we can install the smart meter post filters, then it can be automated and the chlorine can be added at that point. Once that's installed, Aqua feels that they can turn the pre-chlorination rate off.
So
That
now-
will help with our byproducts that are coming out of that are a result from chlorinating water that still have organics in it.
Is it also going to save us money in the amount of chlorine we're currently using? Is that even
Probably
negligible,
not.
or is that going to be a big deal?
You may see a small decrease, but if we don't chlorinate at this end, we have to make sure we put the right amount of chlorine at that end. The difference is we won't have the exceedances because we'll be chlorinating clean treated water.
It's not like we're going to save
No,
hundreds of thousands of dollars on chlorine because, okay.
right.
All right, gotcha.
And I believe the only reason we have this pre-chlorination is because of the ECA that has been in place prior to when we got the reservoir. Now with
Right.
the reservoir, we have enough contact time. Hopefully you got that right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots
So-
of moving parts.
Oof. But it really seemed like your answer to like the emails that were coming back and forth and stuff, it seems like it made a lot of that stuff clear, honestly.
Good.
Okay, everybody good with the inspection then? So we may as well move on to 3N for Tammy, the report of the oil furnace and of the storage tank.
The recommendations here from the Director of Operations to surplus the Well McLean oil furnace at the municipal complex in Gov Deals at an opening bid at $500. And the following recommendation to surplus the Northern Steel oil storage tank from the municipal complex in Gov Deals with an opening bid of $1,000.
So the prices were suggested to us by Todd Darling, based on his experience. The small furnace is still in really good shape, and he thinks that 500 is a fair bid. So if we place that on Gov Deals at an opening bid, chances are you'll make more.
Is there any sense or advantage to advertising this stuff locally? Or not really? I don't, like, it's just a curiosity question.
Yeah, I mean, if it fails on, you have a better opportunity of making more on it on Gov Deals. Failing it going on Gov Deals, you can certainly look at advertising it more locally. It's extremely heavy, so.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, who would want something like that? Not a whole.
Somebody wants to heat their garage.
Huge garage.
Wait,
You know,
you're
can-
talking about the tank?
of your
Both,
furnace.
the
furnace,
the
yeah.
tank or the furnace, you'd be surprised.
You contractors. I mean, that tank will be gone in,
Yeah, I think that'll go
I think
quickly.
that tank will be gone in,
I think there'll probably be a bidding war on that one.
yeah,
On Gov
Okay.
Deals.
But the furnace, you would use that in your house.
somebody will use, no, somebody will use
Yeah,
it.
so-
Mm-hmm. And there's no fuel left in that tank. It's just the tank.
That's right.
There's no fuel.
There's no
Okay.
fuel left in the tank,
Okay.
and we have, since we've moved it, Superior Propane has removed the warning tag, which we needed to have done so that we could continue delivery of propane.
Right.
We had a deadline to get that moved.
And that's one less thing we have to worry about for insurance.
Yeah.
Oil tank.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
true too.
Yeah, shout out to Public Works. They had that tank gone in less than an hour. Like, they were amazing out there.
Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Number 5,
Okay.
Financial and Special Projects Administrator Report.
So recommendation here for the Township of Schreiber, renew the North of Superior Travel Association Lake Superior Circle Tour Canadian advertising package full page for the year 2023 in the amount of $3,500 excluding applicable taxes.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm good with it.
I got no problem approving it if we fix it up, fix up the writing. You turn to
Full
scroll,
page, Nick?
scroll, I guess is the word, to page 51 of
And see the actual,
Schreiber and the local shops. Also downtown, you will find the Schreiber Rail Museum.
Yeah, we're not paying, that's not what, I thought this was just for the full page thing, that's what she's recommending.
Yeah, the full page
Is the next, I
Allows
thought we're
for-
just approving page 52.
yeah.
no.
The other one
Okay.
is,
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean,
And we
We
can't,
need, we need to update our information.
Yeah.
our information has got to be updated, like even at the bottom of that, is Schreiber.ca, and under Schreiber.ca is Terrace Bay, like.
Yeah.
I haven't done it myself, I hear you punch the Schreiber Discovery Center in your GPS and it'll take you downtown. Like, we've got to be
No
better.
idea. Ever try that?
We've got to. We gotta be better. I don't like the address that they give us. Maybe there's a benefit to it, I guess. I don't know, but they give us Walker Street. I think it should be the highway, but,
Schreiber's also spelled wrong on that ad.
I guess my point is, I guess we better go through our stuff
Yep.
and,
which page was that?
the misspelling of Schreiber is on the actual
Right underneath
pager,
Discovery Center.
on the address, it says SHREIV.
Oh.
Yeah. The listing has to get updated. I agree with you, but I think that the investment is definitely good,
Yeah, the one pager's nice.
right?
Nice picture.
as I'm hearing, especially the stamp location.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the same time, it might be worthwhile to look at the website too and see,
I think
see if
lots
there's
of
anything updated, needs to be updated there.
On the Superior website, yeah.
And GPSs or,
But I know they had, we talked about it before, they had some really good pictures in there for Schreiber.
So there, maybe Tim could take a look at that.
We do have to do a sweep off updating things.
Right?
Yeah, things change, so.
Yeah,
Mention the downtown park.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
yeah, but
The only other thing I was curious about was, if we had, did we get a membership in 2022? We obviously did, if there's a full page ad, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That was the only other question I had. I think it's a good investment.
Yeah.
But you're not, yeah, you're right, it needs to be updated.
How many copies were out? Did they say 80,000 or something?
Yeah, there are 80,000 copies
Yeah.
distributed every year.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
huge, that's huge.
yeah, like I say, and now that our splash park is going to be open, maybe we want that right up in there, but with
Yes,
the splash park.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right up about you know what I mean?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, because the write-up says.
while we're on the
Royal Museums
subject.
downtown.
Yeah.
Yes,
just
which
to
page
update
was
the
that one?
information.
So, like, what Mooney was saying, like, it says, come downtown, historic downtown Schreiber and the local shops. Also downtown, you'll find the Schreiber Railway Museum and Tourist Information Center.
Oh, okay.
So it has, like, the information about the museum as being still downtown in the write-up for Schreiber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will work on all of that and get it fixed.
Just to have it updated.
By Friday.
Friday.
Okay, number 6, Schreiber Housing Survey data analysis. We just,
See notes.
So this we're bringing this up again just to take a look at for new council. interesting statistics on here from the residents that take a look at the survey. We did get quite the response with about 96 respondents. We usually do get quite a bit of quite a large number of responses in the surveys we do put out there, so our residents are quite engaged. And just interesting dynamics that stemmed out of it. I mean, if you take a look at it, it looks like people are still interested in ownership housing. There's a
Single detached house, 61%.
Yeah, saw that.
Yep. Prefab and traditional constructed homes is not so much of a difference there when it comes to comparison. In terms of looking at square footage, people are interested in still a fairly large square footage for homes. Yeah, a lot of interest towards a single-story bungalow type homes. The
With a basement.
is
Yeah.
very popular, and when we were sometimes corresponding with a lot of prefab developers, it looked like they wanted to go the route of not providing the basement,
Yeah.
but
More money.
Yeah,
there seems to be a market that
Yeah.
really wants that basement.
What's the cost of a basement?
Well, a bigger foundation.
So it's not cheap.
No, it's
No.
not cheap.
No.
no,
And then when a prefab costs $300,000, like,
Yeah.
that's up pretty.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, surprised to see there when it was, if you're comfortable with downsizing, a lot of
Did you
people
see
want to
that?
downsize to a 3-bedroom.
3-bedroom.
It was, I should have put more options there because it looks like they want to downsize to something still pretty big.
So people don't really want to change.
Yeah, single detached housing, that's still.
yeah.
Yeah.
That downsizing surprised me, because if I was downsizing, I wouldn't be wanting that 3-bedroom house anymore. I'd have been thinking, no,
No,
it's smaller. Yeah,
That's what we thought too. We were
Yeah.
Totally surprised by it.
maybe that is some of the issue why we have empty apartments, right? Especially if you're a senior and downsizing, 1 bedroom's not gonna be big enough.
People have a hard time as you get older moving from what they're familiar with.
Yeah.
They live there all their life.
Yeah.
They'd rather stay there for the rest of their life.
Yeah,
So it is quite interesting.
Yeah.
The most popular sort of housing choice is it doesn't so much matter if it's a prefab or a traditionally built, but it's still a single detached home
Yeah.
with a basement and a fairly large size that is what's interesting people. And I mean, what we can do with the survey is if it is of any interest with potential developers, let them take a look.
Just don't show them that last question that says they don't want to spend more than $200,000.
I think it's
So
really
ignore that one.
Yeah.
I think
Is
it's really
this
good.
something that you could put, or you would be even willing to put into, like a published type of thing and post it on our website?
Absolutely. I mean, and that is part of where we
Bring
need
it up
to
and-
update things is we need to put all these surveys
Yeah.
up. So,
Because I thought this was really interesting. I think a lot of people would think this is interesting.
Yeah.
And you're right, even developers, oh, look,
Yeah.
they have one of these surveys done.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's no write-in answers, so you can,
Yeah,
yeah, you don't have to screen anything before you post it.
We are working on our budget survey too, right? So that is ending today, and we did get quite a number of responses on that too. So that's also good. We'll bring that forward
good,
when we're done the analysis. So
good.
Okay, number 7, senior programmer.
Okay,
I wrote Dan McGraw.
I can report on that.
Okay,
So November, Kath talked about floor curling program resumed in October. That's a very successful program with lots of participation. Pickleball, not so much. Swedish weaving is another successful program. Remotely, averages 10 to 15 participants, so very active group, and they have a lot of fun, right, Tammy?
Yeah, they do.
So they had a very successful cake decorating seminar back in November. And that was recorded by Schreiber Media Center. So that's November. In December, there was a membership drive. Well, there was, December was a membership drive. I'll get the numbers in a minute, but also there was a Christmas dance, Christmas dinner and dance with, which was a huge success. 128 tickets were sold. The decorating was done by committee, and there was a photo booth set up by Beth Ann. Yeah, very successful.
And those pictures are on Facebook now too.
Okay, great,
Mhm.
great. And thanks to you, Anne Marie and Evan, for donating your time to work at the bar. So that was successful. We also had several members getting out snowshoeing. We do have snowshoes available to groups that want to get out and go snowshoeing. So in December, the membership blitz was conducted. At the end of October, there was 386 members. And I don't have the updated numbers, but this report shows 261 members had signed up by the end of December, so one-third. And of that group, 30 were new members, so I'm thinking we're gonna break 400 this year, so.
Well, with 30 new members, I thought that was outstanding.
And great participation on Facebook. There was connection in December of 5,000, almost 6,000 times, so everything's working as intended with very successful committee and program.
Okay, thanks, Sam. Number 8, the Recreation Programmer Report, Winter Carnival 2023.
And the recommendation here to approve the 2023 Winter Carnival event plan with anticipated expenses and revenues as presented.
It looks like there's some excellent participation in both the schools and the church groups. I think that looks good.
Mhm.
I think the only question I had was, maybe you know, Dave, did anybody, when you're talking about advertising and with the booklet and stuff, did anybody get a hold of Schreiber Media to see if they can take some of these events? Do they typically?
I don't know. I would assume he was just gonna do that anyways. But I don't know if Beth Ann's actually contacted him.
Okay.
There's a meeting tomorrow, so I'll shoot her an email, because I won't be at the meeting, but Benji will be there, so.
Beth Ann did ask me to reiterate or to let council know that she wasn't aware of the Schreiber Media Center, and I gave her the contact information to get.
I will
That was
not
late in the day
email her.
today. Yeah,
Okay,
but she did say thank you for the heads up. She appreciated that.
okay, thanks. Yeah, I mean, approve it.
Yeah, and I think
No
even
problem with it.
even some of the overtime, I mean, we had some money left over from 2022 because we had kind of a delay in transition between one staff and another, so it looks completely reasonable to me,
That's way less OT than it's ever been.
right? No, honestly, I thought, well, that's not bad at all.
It's way less overtime than it would have ever been. Much
Yeah, what's coming a
predicted.
shorter week,
Yeah.
right? You have different, and yeah.
So that's made a difference too, right? Yeah.
I think it's gonna make a big difference.
Well, yeah. I mean, she only has to be there for 3 games, really.
Yeah, no, I mean, it looks much, yeah. And did the warm message come in from the mayor?
The mayor has a message out there.
But it's
He
not
does. I thought it was going to be here tonight, but it's not. Yeah. Yeah, no, what's the, I give it to Beth Ann yesterday. Okay,
Is the
If anyone's willing to volunteer to run a station at Dictionary.
Pictionary, yeah, Beth Ann's been asking for volunteers.
I know Nathan's done it before, so he should probably. do it.
Yeah, I'll be there if I can help. I've done it before, not that well,
Doesn't
Is,
matter. Yeah,
um,
you were there too last time. Yeah.
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 Any
There we go.
mayor and council or management staff, anybody interested in doing an ice sculpture? Or a snow sculpture? Hmm?
On the spot.
Just,
see,
I'm all in to make it into a competition. You have a little bit of unfair advantage because you would have some heavy equipment we don't have, but hey.
okay then, beautification committee report. I really haven't talked to anybody on this. Is this what you were looking for, Marlene?
I would say this fulfills what council had requested in 2021.
And we as the beautification committee are hoping for $1,000 donation again through the in-kind or however, I can't even remember.
We just, that is the desire of council. You would have the recommendation go forward that you, as, how did the other one go?
Yeah.
Right, in the same way that it was that you authorize a donation of $1,000 to the beautification committee, and that the committee provide a report on the use of funds
At the end of the year.
at the end
Right.
of the year.
Yeah.
So we can look into that.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
The only other thing I think, and I just need to get out more obviously, it is, it'd be nice to have kind of a couple of things, a list of things that they do. They do a lot.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm never sure specifically what it, like, just the things that they do, that they put the flowers up and where they go, they light up the night. But there's other things that they do I think sometimes we're not even aware of.
Yeah.
Because they do a lot of good stuff. And the only other thing is, we have a list on our website, and I know Nathan, I've been actually on this website, but of all this, like, our committees, right, stuff. But it would be nice, maybe someplace to just have, like, especially when it's, like, season and the plants and stuff are growing, right, to be able to have pictures of that stuff. Even of workers watering stuff, just to be able to post on our website, just to keep, increasing the
Yeah,
awareness
awareness,
of what, because this committee does a lot of good work.
Yeah.
So that's my only comment about that. But I think the $1,000 is
No, it's $1,000
It's an
is
easy-
peanuts for what the value.
for the value of what they do.
Yeah.
I think we just need to help bring more awareness for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've been looking towards a project to really advertise both the community, the local businesses. It has been work in progress, but and even if it is, right, having someone out there taking pictures during any events we do, this is all part and parcel of marketing ourselves better and communicating what's going on here better. So
Yeah.
You might get a few more volunteers as well.
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah, we got a lot of avid gardeners, that's for sure.
Okay, great. So bring that forward next meeting or whatever. Great. Okay, great. Number 10, Occupational Health and Safety Committee meeting minutes. Okay.
So the only thing I would say is, we have, from the committee, worked on updating their workplace violence and harassment policy, and that's included later on in the package, so that's there. The only other question I had was, and he's not here to ask him, but Benji, the timing of these meetings for 9 o'clock in the morning, has somebody talked to Benji to make sure this is a meeting he can make? He's our council rep.
Conversation with Benji, is that? No.
I believe I had
He's okay
the
with that?
conversation, and he said he should be able to make it.
Okay. All right,
Now, his schedule's a bit flexible.
it's a bit flexible, just, yeah.
Like as long as it wasn't every day, and that's once a month.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, that was the only thing I thought when I looked at it, 9 o'clock in the morning. Whew.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
that's early, yeah, you're right.
No, I'm just thinking but for somebody who works, for us, it's like, yeah, whatever, but for someone who works, it'd be a tougher meeting maybe to get to.
Yeah, if it does present an issue
Yeah.
in the future, we'll resolve it. No problem. Okay, number 11, Schreiber Public Library Board meeting minutes.
It was from the December meeting. If anyone has any questions.
Dave, this connectivity grant,
Yeah.
what?
Oh, yeah.
There's a whole bunch of them out there. Do you know which one it is? Because the other thing is, my question is, just library is eligible for the period of April to December 2022. Is that supposed to be 2023?
I don't, like, honestly could not tell you that one. I would assume no. I think that date's probably right.
Okay.
So maybe that would be when they was, maybe, yeah, I honestly don't know about that one.
Oh, Marlene.
Marlene might?
I do believe in conversations with Linda, it is ending in December, and they should know something. It was late January, early February, whether or
If
not
this is
they-
about the internet,
This
this is not is the connectivity grant the internet thing?
well, not the whole, not the
No.
fiber optic thing.
No.
That's a
the
different
fi-
one.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
different one.
Yes.
Okay. Fiber optic, that isn't fiber optic. Sorry.
And just when I was looking
Uh-huh.
at connectivity grant, I'm like, there's a rackload of those out there.
For libraries or for?
Well, for profits, for not for profits, for municipalities, and I'm like, I don't even know which grant they would be looking at.
They
Nice.
will be getting free internet for the next 2 years through this community network.
Okay.
That's the fiber optic.
That's the fiber optic, which there's some
That
complication with that one, but I think
But
there has been some resolution as
been
well.
resolved
I wouldn't want to
as-
speak.
as of the January meeting, which you'll get the minutes for or whatever.
Okay.
But that's been resolved, and so they're in the contract with not Shaw, with this company through, I don't know how they got hooked up with it, through libraries or whatever, that was offering fiber optic internet. Turns out it's not actually fiber optic internet because of our infrastructure, it's
Okay.
just
cable.
fast internet that
Okay.
uses the existing cable. It's
Yeah.
being covered through the grant or whatever for the next 2 years, and then after that, they'll probably re-enter into a Shaw agreement again, because it's basically the same internet, but you can get it, and then the guarantee of it being free is gone after the 2 years.
So Shaw offers pretty high speeds. What is it, 1 gigabyte?
It's 1 gigabit right
Yeah.
now.
Is that just cable or is that
That's through coax cable.
coax cable? So you can get pretty good speeds without fiber optics.
Which would
Yeah.
be better than what they're getting through this fiber optic
Yeah.
that isn't fiber
Flash,
optic.
not fiber optic.
However, their internet will be free for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Which is
That's good information. No, that's good information, yeah.
Free is good.
easy. But it was a bit of a kerfuffle, right, Marlene, to get all that done?
That is what I have been told.
Yes, it was something.
Yeah.
And I guess the only other thing, and because you luckily sit on both committees,
Mm.
was the library approached about anything for Winter Carnival? Like when I took a look at their calendar, I'm like, oh, that's probably from December. So I went online. There's no mention of.
They're doing the cakewalk at.
They're doing the
Junior
cakewalk?
At the Junior Pictionary, yeah.
Okay.
And then,
So
I mean, the library, but it's under the Historical Society name, is holding the license for the last chance draw. So basically, it's the library doing it, but it's the
No.
historical.
No, it's pretty much our rec programmer that's getting most of the stuff for the last year.
Oh, I meant like
Yeah, but the
I
license
think
is-
they're volunteering to help at it. The library people
Okay,
is what was asked at the last meeting.
okay.
Yeah, but no, not gathering the prizes. No, they're not gathering prizes. That and doing that.
But
But they're
there is some involvement with
There
the
is-
library, right?
Yes, yeah, they're doing the cakewalk at the Junior Pictionary. But other than that, I don't. During Winter Carnival, they don't. They usually hold a lunch, possibly. But other than that, that would be it. On a regular
Basis, right?
7-day Winter Carnival thing.
Right, on the longer ones, because
Yeah.
it's a shorter,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, I was just thinking, I don't know, maybe you would advertise, come on in and have coffee and check out our new digitization.
Yeah. I know.
I hear lots of stuff about that digitalization project.
Yeah, and I know when they did the poker walk, that would be a stopping point.
Okay.
You would kind of end at the library, so they might have been in charge of that in conjunction with Evan as the rec. So I remember doing it with my daughter and ending at the library, and then you got like a free book or something like that.
Okay.
But that's not happening this year.
Okay. Number 12, Fire Department activity report for November and December.
You get more and more calls, yeah.
Appears that way.
Record
Yeah.
calls.
Yes. Yeah, 109 this year.
What's driving that? I mean, most of them are on the highway, right? Majority of them?
There's a good majority that are on the highway, outside of town. Technology change is one of them. I believe I've got something in the report there, just on the introduction of Apple Watches dialing 911.
Mm-hmm.
That started November 1st, and a week and a half later, we already had our first call from an Apple Watch for a car accident.
So
I
how does
think-
that work?
What it does is it takes your GPS coordinates and it sends them up to a satellite when it notices that you come to a sudden stop or an impact, and it'll automatically dial 911. It's a setting. The experience in November, not here, but other places, they had people on roller coasters and amusement park rides and ski
Yeah.
hills, and their watches were dialing 911.
Yeah.
You know, jumping off the chairlift and things like that. So
I'm gonna say, does that generate a lot of false alarms?
it does.
Yeah.
So I do expect that in the summer when people are on their quads, out on the hiking trails, that we're going to see more of that. So, yeah, there's other things that drive the change too, like carbon monoxide alarms, which we don't get a lot of yet, but now that that's mandatory in every house, they will eventually all get old and start going off. So,
Yeah.
so I expect more of those in the future.
Okay, so that impacts the stats.
Yeah. Some of that is the automatic gate agreement with Terrace Bay,
That's what I was about.
but not all of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I know there was a few calls to the mill, or quite a few calls
yes,
last year.
they had a run of problems there.
Yeah,
That has been resolved.
yeah. That structure fire with the seized blower motor, that probably, I don't know how often that happens, but it just got me thinking about fans in general.
Yeah.
Like, they can be a fire hazard, right, if you leave your fan running and,
This was a blower motor in an
Yeah.
old combination wood oil furnace.
yeah,
Oh,
And it was, to put it nicely, an antique.
yeah,
You know, and not well maintained. You know, there was a lot of dirt in the furnace, and when the motor finally seized, it caught the dust and the dirt, and the
yeah.
debris piled up against it.
So that's something that should be maintained regularly.
It is. It's very hard to inspect somebody's private house
Yeah,
for that type of compliance.
yeah,
I've got a lot of leeway with inspecting businesses and commercial properties, but it's very difficult to force an inspection on a house.
yeah, that's up to the homeowner, yeah, so.
Yeah.
So, just a question about fans in general, like, I mean, some people go away for, months at a time and they leave some fans running in their house.
Yes,
And I'm sure if they're not lubricated, they'll
there's a
seize
chance.
up like this or start smoking or could be a fire hazard.
Yes.
I mean,
Definitely.
I had heard that the fans cause fires and that's just. this-
There's an example, yes.
There's an example. So
Yeah.
if you're leaving, shut your fan off.
Fans off.
Except for maybe your blower motor might be a good one to keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your diesel recovery, that,
Genius.
yeah.
I read that and wrote genius. That's
That's
genius.
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's saving a fair bit of money out of the operating budget.
Yeah. And saving the environment.
Yes, because
Yeah.
it's stopping it from going into the ditch.
Do they ever ask for their diesel fuel back?
No, usually they don't.
Okay.
Usually when we're doing that, the tanks are ruptured and
Yeah,
we're,
good.
we're stopping it from hitting the ground. And the environmental company that would have had to come clean it up is usually pretty happy, so.
Good stuff.
And nice to see that there's a second phase or a second round of money that's coming out for that, some of that 911 system stuff.
Yes,
I mean, maybe don't know anything about it now, but it's nice to know that, because like you say, basically, right, they froze out smaller communities, but if they're coming out with the second round,
we're hopeful that there's some money in there for doing things like GIS mapping,
yeah,
because that's the way the 911 system is going now, is all gonna be GIS based. So we really need to find something to help us with that.
and you had another new volunteer.
Yes, a returner.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, let's move on to number 13, Fire Chief Report. 2023 capital budget air cylinder purchase.
Recommendation from the fire chief to authorize the purchase of 5 3M Scott air cylinders at the cost of $9,093.08 from M&L Supply.
That's in his budget request later on.
Yeah. Well, it's in his wish list for capital.
Right. Yeah.
I do.
Doing it now with saving $13.50 or whatever, $1,400.
And this is something that was included in your long-term plan for replacing all these cylinders, Jan?
this is part of the changeover from the low pressure 2216 pressure
Yeah.
bottles to the 4500 pressure bottles.
Yeah.
We maintain a fleet of over 60 of these cylinders, with several having to be bought every year as an ongoing capital project. That's because they have a 15-year life cycle. I have to destroy them after 15 years. So we have to bring in a bunch of new ones every year to replace the outgoing ones.
But this amount, later on, as we get into later in the meeting where we start talking about 2023 budgets, this is not included in your 2023 budget list as it's presented, is it?
It is.
It is?
It is.
So just-
I see it in the capital request, but not in the actual budget. I couldn't find a line that said we need, hang on here. Here, the updated, oh, so is this on the updated volunteer fire department list? There's, on that updated list, I'm looking at all the different costs, and I don't see a cost for that particular item. That,
Marley?
So the spreadsheet that you're referring to, Emery, is the operating, so this is part of the capital.
Right,
So it's two separate sheets.
two separate sheets. So if I go to capital projects from last year, and I look, we have fire department, but fire equipment that we had approved last year, right?
Are you talking about this agenda? Like this agenda, when
Yes.
when they're saying that, yes, it's included on the capital list for
Yes.
this year, it's the next, it's the item under unfinished business preliminary budget. There's the operating budget from the fire department on there, and then there's also their capital requests. So this $9,000 is included on that capital request.
But it's not on the updated budget, is what she said. As an expense. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, shouldn't it be on this somewhere?
Not on that one, because that's operating.
Okay, so,
Okay.
hang on here.
You only get minor maintenance, like equipment.
Yeah.
Put into that one, so.
Shoot, hold on.
So we don't have that,
So,
okay.
so Recreation Committee Reserve Fund transfers. Okay, so hang on, Marlene. So the addition was, the two additions, also note that the preliminary operating budget has been updated and the updated version is, okay. So that's what I'm saying, is that the preliminary operating budget's the only thing that we had attached to this, and I don't see it on there. Because there was no separate capital that I could find. Budget
It's on-
request.
So if you're on your agenda package, under unfinished business, it says 2023 preliminary budget, and then it says Schreiber Fire Department capital requests. That's the link to the capital.
It should be
Looks
this.
like this, it's this
And it's a
chart.
PDF.
Yeah, I have that.
5 SCBA cylinders.
So it's on their, yeah, I realize it's on their capital request.
Yep.
Which is fine, it's on that, yeah, I see it on that list. But my question is, I guess, is on that list, that's all outlined, but there's no reference to how we're gonna pay for it. There it is, right there. You're thinking this one here, right, Mark?
No.
No.
It's
Oh.
a PDF, the Schreiber Fire Department capital request. It's separated into PPE and personal safety equipment, and
Yeah.
then there's SCBA, and then there's equipment and facilities. It totals
Library.
just over 72,000 in total.
Right,
His $9,000 is in the second section where it's SCBA.
right. So it
Yes.
is included in the capital request. I guess my question is, when I took a look at the capital projects budget report just from 2022, so you're intimating that there's going to be a capital project for the fire department for 2023?
At this point, what he is putting forward under capital projects for the fire department is the 72,000.
2,361, and that 9,000 is included in there.
Correct.
Okay. But we don't have a revenue side to this thing.
Not at this one, not
Okay.
at this, right
Okay.
now. I don't believe there's anything in your report that says that you're recommending to transfer it from a reserve or
Right.
donation or anything, no. But what I will say, in the budget for 2022, the total, fire department capital
Yeah.
that was approved was just under $60,000.
For the 2022 year.
Yeah.
And
Which is,
we are, to this date, as of December, overspent.
I thought that he was pretty close to, we're on budget for that, unless there was a resolution for something different, because I think you had something that was on top of that.
Yeah, a little bit of a disadvantage, I don't have the documents.
I'm gonna attach this back to this so I won't lose where I'm at. Okay, that's fine. And Jen, you have to replace 5?
Yes, it's a recurring thing that will go on virtually forever.
And how many in total do you have right now?
There's, I believe 62 of them.
62. And is there a minimum they have to carry, or?
I have to carry one for every firefighter seat on a truck. And I
Okay.
have to have a spare bottle for every pack on a truck. And then we have several that are operational spares. And then there's also cylinders that run things like the lifting bags, the air chisels, things like that.
So there's a reason for that number?
There is, yes.
Okay.
So the question here is basically, do you want to okay the purchase to save $1,400 ahead of passing? Or do you want,
A capital budget later on.
Which that'll be a part of. Come out.
Which it will be a part of, absolutely. No, she's got it on her list, she's quite right. I find the list that she's talking about, I just don't get the correlation between how we're gonna fund that, the capital requests. But if it's a matter of saving it, and he absolutely has to have it, and 62 is the number, and there's a reasoning for that, then I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
Just getting the information.
Go with that.
I was just gonna say, could you go with less? You just, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and you know, also to point out, this is really, it's part of the respiratory protection program. So it's part of PPE. It's their safety gear. So it's, you know, I would say if there's things to cut, that they be cut elsewhere under the capital budget.
I had a talk with Jan the other day about this very topic, and there is elsewhere to in the capital.
Okay.
So do you want to go ahead with this then? Go ahead with it, and so you can bring forward the request then?
Given the additional information, it makes sense to me.
Okay, so we'll go with the recommendation of getting the 5 cylinders then. And then number 14 is a hard suction hose. That is in.
Yeah, so the recommendation from the fire chief to authorize the purchase of a hard suction hose and strainer for the 2006 pumper truck at a cost of $2,455.07 from Fort Garry Fire Trucks.
So why did they not include this?
I just,
This is, it's kind of industry practice actually to not include it with a
To
truck.
not include it?
Usually what happens is in this case, a used truck, so the previous owner would have kept theirs and put it on their next one. You know, in the spring when we bought the new truck for Pays Plat, or Pays Plat got the new truck for themselves, that truck didn't come with that hose
Oh, okay.
either. And it was bought, just recently paid for by Pays Plat. So in this case, the truck didn't come with that hose, but the previous truck that it replaced was so old that the hose is undersized.
so that was my question.
It's a
You
much
can't switch it
smaller
over.
diameter
Okay.
and will not fit on the truck.
Yeah,
So,
you can't go to a fire without a hard suction hose.
No, Well, I was just thinking, why couldn't we just take it off the truck we surplus?
The truck that moved out had a 5-inch hose fittings and hose, and modern trucks have sticks. So this is simply an attempt to save the shipping costs, because we have an opportunity to have this sent here for free on top of Terrace Bay's new truck that's coming in a week and a half.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So the purchase is roughly $2,500, and we're gonna save $900 to $1,000 in transportation costs. Are we good with that? Good?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, we'll go ahead with that. Number 15, Aqua, the Schreiber Water and Wastewater Treatment Systems Report for December 2022. Nothing jumped out at you, Tammy?
Nothing jumped out at me. All the numbers looked good.
What about these alarms for the C12 residual high-low alarm? It seems like they're happening once a month.
They do. Those are, if you recall during your tour, when they were explaining some of the alarms that were put into place, low temperature, high temperature, they're really not alarms called for, but they do need to respond to them. A lot of times they have access on their phone, SCADA on their phone, and they can address those calls right there on their phone without having to come into the plant.
And check up on it. And the other thing I would ask is that there was some notes, 2 different notes on emergency lights not working.
At the plant,
I think one was at the plant and one was, I think one was wastewater and one was at the water treatment plant. My question just is, are these now repaired and working?
well, we work in conjunction with them when I bring
Right.
people in here. And we just had the technician in today, so I believe they have been looked at,
Okay.
but I'll follow up on that. They should be filling out facility work orders and sending them to me.
Yeah.
I've not received any concerning that, and I might have missed that in the report there, so I'll follow up on that.
There was a couple occasions, I think there was one at the water treatment and a couple at sewage. I think that's how I read that.
Okay.
And the only other question I had was early in the report, Tammy, where it talks about sewage performance assessment. In November, we talked about the wet sludge that was processed and how the number had increased so much from previous months because we had to drain it off, right? So then my question becomes, in December, we processed less sludge, but sent more volume to the landfill. So my question is why?
Because if you recall, we approved an expenditure on December 7th. We brought the back truck in to unplug that sludge return line. So a lot of the sludge was pumped out again in the back truck. December 7th, 8th, I think the truck was here.
So November was to clean up the clarifying drain so we could fix that, and this was to clean up a line.
Yeah, to
Okay.
unplug one of the lines.
Unplug the line. Okay. Anybody else have any other questions?
No, I'm good with that, so move
Thanks,
down.
Tam.
Move on to number 16. This is at the bottom. If you scroll down to the bottom, this is the possible additions to the agenda. And number 16 is treasury report, and property tax arrears analysis. And if you want to speak to it, Marlene.
there's no action required, it's for information purposes only. I would say this is a great news story. We're showing a trend that we're having, less notices that are going out at year end. In 2020, I believe it was 209 that we sent out. In 21, it was 177, and 2022 is 136. I did extend the deadline for paying the eligible portion to January 31st. I have had some successes, as I have in here. 11, at the time of writing the report, 11 of 31 eligible properties have paid out their eligible portion of their arrears. So anybody who has any arrears pertaining to 2021 would be eligible for registration. I am estimating that we will likely have 6 properties that I'm not confident that will have paid their eligible amount by the end of the day today, but I'll know more once we do our month end, and anything that was paid today we should get the reports in the morning and get posted. So
And then those, if we register, they go for sale by the summer?
no, so if they're being registered this year, it's about 18 months
Oh,
before.
right.
Because it's about 6 to 8 weeks for farm debt. And then it's, once the arrear certificate's registered on title, the property owner has 365 days to pay off the total arrears at that point in time. After the 365-day grace period, that's when we are eligible to sell the property, and that process takes about 2 months to do.
Yeah, 2 months to do, got it. So, Marlene, on December 31st, 2021, it looks like we had 4 properties failed at a tax sale, previously failed tax sale for $58,000. And in 2022, we only had 3 properties. But the failed tax sale amount went up to $72,600. Just a curiosity, why? Just different properties, different values?
Well, it would be that you have a whole other year of taxes, and that one of them likely sold.
So one property sold, but more tax arrears accumulated. That's the answer?
That is quite possible, yes.
Yeah, because it's gonna sell for nothing, and the arrears against the other 3 are probably much higher than. Am I speaking correctly?
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
That it probably didn't sell for much, and the arrears that tallied up on the other 3 properties would total more than what that one losing would cost, correct?
That is quite possible. I mean, I'd have to look at the detail in there.
Makes
You'd have
sense.
to look at the specific properties, and some commercial
That
properties
would
right
be my
now,
assumption.
significant amount of
Yeah.
property tax, so can definitely skewer things.
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
You'd have to look at those in specific.
I can do that if you want to give me a couple minutes.
No, just because I was looking at this today and thinking, oh, that was good. We went down, and I'm like, wait a second. The amount went up. I just thought,
Well, the dollar, like I said, the dollar amount will go up
yeah, okay.
because you have because 2 of them for sure are definitely properties that.
Excuse me.
Yeah, the majority of it is actually one property that was a failed tax sale that, that's all that I probably could say during.
Okay,
public
no,
portion.
that's
Yeah.
fine. No, I mean, that makes sense. And just so that we're clear, overall, I think, yeah, this is a good news story.
Okay, anybody else got?
So that number used to be way scary.
Way scarier, that's right. It's not anymore.
No other questions on that with Treasury report and the Rec Committee Reserve Fund transfers for the fiscal year of 2022.
A number of transfers there. that council transfer $308, which represents donations from vending machine sales in 2022. Transfer $77.96, which represents net apparel sales for 2022. Council transfer $178.07, which represents the cost of the bike price for the bike rodeo event in 2022. Council transfer $465.28, which represents the 2022 Winter Carnival loss. Council transfer $225.45, which represents the 2022 Heritage Days event net loss. And then council transfer $2,125.07, which represents the July 30th, 2022 EDLA performance net loss.
So here's my hand raised question, sorry. This is a lot of in and out for such a minuscule amount of money. Is there a purpose behind this?
Marlene, did you want to answer that?
I didn't hear it all, sorry.
No, sorry, Marty. No, this is like we're transferring in approximately $385, and we're transferring out $2,994 in several different lines. And I know because you explained to me the difference between reserves and reserve fund. I'm sure there's an explanation to this, but this seems like a lot of work for such a little bit amount of money.
I think I would say that the majority of the benefit comes down to knowing, really looking at each of the events
Mm-hmm.
and how they profit loss on the event,
Mm-hmm.
like that type of a tracking mechanism. We do account for, like, donations are accounted for different, like in a different way. You're right, it's minimal.
Because these all take resolutions and paperwork. I'm 100% sure of it. And I just wonder why for such a little bit amount of money. But if there's a purpose behind it, then I get it. And
I personally prefer to have it so then when somebody's coming, when I was asked, okay, what did we make at Winter Carnival 2020 or whatever, then it's easier to find it, to see, did you have a surplus, did you have a loss? It's easier to track that way myself. I don't.
Okay. So that recreation reserve fund, not reserves, reserve fund, is specifically designed to.
It was established a long time ago. I don't know what bylaw it was off the top of my head. I believe in the beginning, it was to fund future recreation projects that, maybe that you couldn't in the end. Part of the Recreation Committee Reserve Fund that you see here does have some of the Heritage Days. So when the Heritage Days Committee disbanded several years ago, they provided the money that they had because they accounted for their stuff in their own separate books and stuff. So that's a portion of what is in the reserve fund, because in essence, the Heritage Days Committee disbanded and it became the Recreation Committee. Recreation Committee now is called Recreation and Festivals.
Right.
Blah, 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 right? At the end of the day, we do keep track of the difference between what was real Recreation Committee fundraising efforts and what was the Heritage Days, so that we always, there's seed money for each of those big events, right? And then you can evaluate different programming if you wanted to do something else.
Because part of the reserve fund idea is because we can actually get interest on that money, right?
Yes.
This whole in and out, and it's not like there's a large amount of money we're talking about here. Is there any sense to it then?
To a reserve fund?
No, to be claiming and saying, well, we're going to get all this interest on it. Because really, we're not.
Well, I suppose that would be, interest it's calculated once a year,
Right.
right? I suppose that would be, it's council that establishes a
Yeah.
reserve fund, like,
No.
and whether or not you wanna disband that and you have the power, that one, you have the power to do that. You have the power to create a reserve fund, you have the power to rescind a bylaw that created it, like, you
Yeah.
have the power.
Well, I have no question, I have no objection to having the reserve fund. And I have no objection to saying it's seed money. But then my thought would be then just let it be seed money instead of putting little bits in and taking little bits out. It just seems like a lot of work, but I get your explanation of it. It makes sense to me, but just, it was my, sorry, my analytical mind thinking, that's a lot of work. Thanks.
So you'd rather it just be like this is a lump sum of loss from everything, and that money
Well,
comes
I think if you had reports, here's your Winter Carnival report. Here's the revenue we gained. Here's and what she's done for us, right?
Yeah.
And I guess I would say, for an overall loss of $2,600 out of 3 events, you couldn't just have that incorporated in your regular operating budget, rather than have her transfer in and transfer out, because every time we do this, there's recommendations, and if you want to have seed money, then leave seed money. But if this is if it's a bigger thing to be able to record in these events specifically, if you made her loss and it's a good comparison tool, then that's a whole other thing. It really depends. I just didn't understand the point behind it.
Okay.
Yeah, please agree.
I suppose, so the benefit of doing it, if you're, like, you wouldn't be able to have seed money in operating without it affecting your taxation.
Yeah. That's,
Right? Which is why you want to leave it in that reserve fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think. Yeah, I see what I get that.
Yeah.
If this concert failed, it shouldn't come out of tax dollars because it was a rec program. Event that was funded through recreation, was it not?
Mm-hmm. No, I get it. I just
Yeah.
didn't understand it. Okay.
Okay, we'll then move on to communications then.
That was a lot of information about that court decision.
Yeah.
A lot going on there, but the result was, I guess, the learning tool for us.
Certainly set a precedent, so.
Yeah.
And we've used E4M on different occasions ourselves, have we not?
Just from,
So, yeah.
just beyond the integrity
Beyond that, yeah.
commissioner, it's, we've used them for a few consulting projects, so.
Yeah, so we've never had an issue with, and we do get a report on once a year on this particular part of it. And we don't want to have a batch report. We have
Oh.
that.
No.
So it's just a good example of what can go wrong and the penalties. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure there was a huge cost to this gentleman. So, anyway, just education.
Yeah.
Well, number 5, you want to support Thunder Bay, the gender affirming, Bill 42.
Yes. Before you get to that, can I have a question about number 4?
Sure.
Are you still on Lake Superior National Marine Conservation Area?
Oh,
Pardon?
I am.
You are?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. What's your question?
That was my question.
Oh.
No, just because I'd seen the minutes, and I'm like, I have Kevin Mullins, Mayor Township of Schreiber, and I
Oh,
thought,
okay.
I didn't remember seeing your name. I just was wondering who was on the National Marine Conservation.
Yeah,
And so now it's Dan.
yeah. So I had to get my name put on there because Kevin was getting the emails. I wasn't. Now I'm getting them. So I missed the last meeting, but I did ask for information on what went on there, so you can see in the minutes that they did talk about Schreiber.
Yeah, they did.
And I'll reach out to them about you know, what Parks Canada can do for us, or if they can, you know, they used to have a program here that they go to Schreiber Beach and do stuff there every week. They didn't do that last year, but we did request them to come during Heritage Days, go down there and do a presentation around the bonfire, which was really good. So we'll just keep in touch with them and see what they can offer for programs.
With communications, we just jump all over the place.
Yeah.
I see.
I mean, you don't, that's the one part of the,
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the other question would be the Thunder Bay District Health Unit. Did you
Okay.
attend the AGM?
no, I did not.
Okay, that's just a question. Because now that falls under Tara's base portfolio, right?
Right.
The health, okay.
That would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Paul sits on
So back to your question.
it. Okay, back to, number 5, yeah. Is everybody okay with supporting the City of Thunder Bill? City of Thunder
Thunder Bay.
Bill, Thunder Bay Bill 42.
Sure. Gender Affirming Healthcare Act. Yes.
We have nothing else in communications then?
Are we going to support the Lanark Highlands request for resolution support?
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
Did we support the original, like this,
This did come about from
Yeah.
I believe it was an upper tier municipality. It may have been Norfolk, but it was unique to their municipality and related to violence against women, specifically within their
county of Lanark, rather than Lanark Highlands? Right, and we did support that, correct?
Because I'm just thinking that sounded familiar.
Yeah.
Awesome. We may have supported it may have been a separate municipality
Yeah, I
altogether. I
remember something about that we did support, but I
can't
recall.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, specifically.
Yeah, no?
Yeah.
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 I feel that. I think it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then last but not least, a question for Nathan, because I thought this was very interesting. Do you like us to request for resolution support for town of Petrolia for school boards to run their own elections? I put yay, Nathan.
It is
Do you think
a
that'll actually happen?
well, it's all in the province's hands. It is an interesting thing, right? Because we take care of all the
You do.
expenses in running a municipal election, and that's something that is fully funded through taxpayer dollars, right? So from a accounting perspective, it is kind of strange that that sort of expense would not be shared with school boards, but for our circumstances here, we're dealing with 2 school boards. I'm fine with, 3, yes.
Right, do they
Potentially.
vote on the French one? No, yes. Because
It
kids from
depends.
Schreiber can attend the French board,
Yes, they can attend.
but do they vote on it, trustee?
Yeah. In terms of trustees, I believe we
Okay,
have
sorry.
just 2 that you can certainly attend, but it depends on how we shared the allocation with Terrace Bay for one of the school boards, so that may be one
That
of
would
them.
be,
So, I mean, you could argue that they should share into that expense. I believe Marlene had budgeted about it was a couple $1,000s. Was it $3,000, $4,000 for election expenses? But that doesn't include.
I thought you were reading.
I thought she was.
I was reading, I'm like, what? So
But that
I'm
is-
going to look really quickly for you what we budgeted for. That's
I
funny.
just thought it was an
5.
interesting thing. It was like,
It was 5,000
5,000.
to do the election in 2022.
Yeah.
And I think we were just slightly over, but that was all encompassing.
Yep. And
Yeah.
then there's lots of administrative hours, whether it's Marlene's time or
Well,
my
it's
time,
true.
when we're, again, doing all the work for taxation and all. But I can see from the province's perspective, right, they don't want to duplicate. Why should the school boards have to duplicate all of that and service and all of that, and put up their own tax bills and all too like that, so.
Well, it would have taken more time if we had to actually tally votes this year as well, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone was just acclaimed.
Yep.
As trustees, like you
Mhm.
didn't have to actually do a count for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. I had a good
So-
point.
Because that would have taken.
I was just thinking, hey, we could get some more money.
I could see in bigger municipalities that, it would account to probably a larger amount of money, but.
Well, there was that
certainly
huge screw up in
interesting.
Thunder Bay this year too, so.
Yeah.
School board thing.
Yeah.
If anything, it should be, maybe the province should be providing us more money through the, OMPF funding to account for that. Maybe they are, I don't know.
I don't
That's
know,
part of
but
their
it would be worth looking
calculations.
into, wouldn't it? I think that's not a bad thing.
Okay, we'll go. You sure we can't go back to the 1963 boiler? It's hot.
Poor Tammy over there's dying.
I've got my
Okay, we'll
long
move
johns on
on to
today, so.
unfinished business with the 2023 preliminary budget. The Schreiber Public Library proposed operating budget.
So, my question to Nathan, and Dan's question to Nathan this afternoon was, are we gonna have to do all of this tonight?
No, this is just,
Whew, that's what I was gonna say, if I was,
Information.
but you were down, because I was gonna say nothing, for tonight, this is for information only. There isn't any
Okay.
decisions that are being made on anything right now. It really is, it is really just for information only.
I mean, it took me 45 minutes alone just to try and balance the library budget and keep it right where it was last year. I'm like, oh, this is a lot of work, man. I don't think we're getting this all done in one night. Okay,
It will only be locked into procurement where we pass resolutions, right? So that's
Right.
pretty much it.
but this, again, is very timely information from our treasurer, and I think it behooves us to, if we're looking at getting budgets approved and moved, that you look at a lot of this stuff, is what I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, this, for the library one, I know this was their second go around at it. The
Mhm.
first one was a higher percent, and then it was recommended they keep it to 1.
Yeah,
And they moved some
Mhm.
things around, and I think they did some good work keeping it at that.
yeah,
And there will be savings in terms of salary going forward, because there is a position that won't be a position anymore as of April, right?
right.
So.
Was that
in,
working with
in
the-
a 2024 budget, you're gonna see a different in terms of that line on the budget,
Right,
right, for salary.
yeah, because they did drop it somewhat, but yeah. Anyways. So what did you want us to do tonight with this then, Nathan?
This is here for you to review, to look into, and I mean, it helps us with regard to understanding what's tolerable for council in terms of the increases. It's an opportunity for you to ask questions into certain items. And it's helpful for us to get a general understanding, if this is okay. Arlene?
I was just gonna say, one of the two departments, the library and the fire department, are under different department heads than really and truly the rest of your budgets, right? Because the majority of the departments are really under the director of operations or the CAO. So this is a good way of getting those things, that information here to look at, to get the process going. The one thing that I didn't want to forget, I had sent that email out to see if, availability And I'm suggesting February the 16th. I
Mhm.
can even do a couple days, but I wanted to know if everybody, I didn't want us to miss that, so if the 16th is a good day, it's a Thursday for everyone. I don't need to, and I don't need to be rushing, because we will, to answer the original question, you don't need to make any decisions with these things that are on here right now, other than the aqua probably, potentially, but it's
But-
to make sure that we have the date, that we're all good for a,
That-
But, so February 16th, you want decisions by then?
not decisions, but we would be bringing forward the information to council at that point in time. So I just,
That's what we can.
December 16th, or December.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta decide.
February
I
16th.
flew way fast, I
You
know.
want us to decide on this aqua thing by that Tuesday meeting before it? Like, you wanna-
Because I have like serious questions all over the place.
I think we'll have to discuss the
Yeah, like, what's
aqua
aqua stuff?
first and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, like, go through everything that's on, I wasn't suggesting that you not go through what's on your agenda tonight, but we didn't have the date on there as a listed item, so I just wanted to make sure everybody was good for the 16th.
Yes, I'm good for the 16th.
Okay,
I'm good for the 6th,
February 16th.
right, yeah. We're,
What time?
during the day, yeah, what time?
You tell me.
Not that it can't be changed, but we're looking at having another committee meeting the evening of the 16th. I believe the email was already out, but
Beautification committee.
the beautification committee, but I mean, that
I didn't know that, sorry.
yeah, no, that's,
When-
no, but
when I just thought, when I sent it out, I said anywhere between the 16th and the 18th, before realizing that that is the long weekend in February, so I didn't think really that anybody was gonna wanna be in here on the weekend or a Friday night. And I know we do have some people that do work during the day, so that's why I thought, well, the 16th might be the better day.
When did you send that out, Marlene?
The email?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a while ago, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, that's the one that referred to this tonight too?
Yeah, that she would have this stuff ready for us
Okay,
tonight,
yeah,
and then
all right.
moving forward, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
no, I definitely would rather I want to do the budget on the
Yeah.
16th.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
so,
do we
so
want,
do you want questions tonight, or you want us just to keep reviewing this?
I think if you have questions, you have the opportunity right now, with Jan here.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I would take that opportunity for sure, and like, let's go through it, but again, it was not, I didn't want anyone to think that you had to make a decision. It wasn't about making a decision, because it's hard to do that without everything together, right? But for the 16th, do we wanna start at 6 or 6:30, or what do we?
I got 8 AM, so you guys do what you want.
Pardon me?
I'll frickin' book the afternoon off if I have to, not to be
Yeah, but
there
there's,
at night.
that's not, nothing's coming.
I'd rather be here.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
I'd rather be
I'll
here.
book the afternoon off
I'd
if I don't
have
have
to
to come
see
in
Kim.
at night.
Yeah,
I don't even know she's
Oh, I'm
got
okay
any
to do it during the day
responses.
if they
Yeah.
do that.
yeah.
I'm good with that.
Put my day in right now.
What time did we come up with?
8 AM.
No, I mean, I'll take a half day off. I'll be done at 11:30. I'll book the afternoon. That means we're gonna talk about the budget for extended periods of time and
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just name the time, it doesn't matter.
I'm okay with, I'm okay with it. I'd
afternoon or
rather-
the 16th, whatever.
Coming on the 16th, okay.
I could be here by 11:45.
Do we want to
Do we want to
start
go?
12:30 or something for lunch, or 1 o'clock? What is your preference?
12:30.
You need a time.
Good idea after lunch, otherwise it's not good to be hangry while
No
doing the
hangry
budget.
and low carb.
12:30?
12:30 we're
12:30?
starting?
Good to go.
Send an email to remind me.
I will do that.
Put that in your Apple.
Yeah,
I'll go on.
that's what I said.
Thank you, sorry about that.
So back to this aqua thing though.
Okay, so you want us to that, to this whole aqua thing? Okay, hold
Do we
on.
have to decide on that now?
Well, I think it's,
Are we looking at the expenditure request or
Did you
Well-
wanna go through the fire department operating?
Well, I was
or
gonna
the-
say, let's
Yeah.
go back to the top.
Okay.
I apologize.
So.
So the
Could go
library,
home.
Screwed everything.
So the library, we're not really gonna, unless Marlene has the answers.
I mean, no, but it doesn't seem like, from last year, like they're pretty much, if we could either increase the revenue by $1,100 or decrease the expenses by that, they're basically the same as 2022. Their increase is minimal.
1%.
That's correct.
Yeah, so,
Great.
right.
I think they did a very good job
Yeah.
on this budget.
Yes.
Yeah. Not that I don't have questions, but I think it's pretty close, yeah.
Okay, the updated, fire department
Mm-hmm.
preliminary operating budget. Did anybody see the questions from Dan and
Did.
Nathan? So the personnel part,
We're gonna leave?
we're gonna leave it alone, because we should be doing that in camera.
That's right.
Other than that, Jan's here.
I just want to say what, the updated version had to do with, I put the, accurate, the insurance premiums for 2023, because the original ones didn't have the new ones, so these are updated insurance premiums, okay?
Okay. Jan, whatever happened to surplusing the 2003 F-450? Did we actually ever get that sold?
It's on the verge of being sold right now. We got offers in for exactly what we're asking,
Okay,
and we're waiting on them to arrive next week.
So now-
Inspect it.
any revenue we would see from that, does that go into reserves or can the offset some of this?
The resolution that was passed was to surplus the truck and put that money back into the truck equipment reserve.
Truck equipment reserve, okay, so that's going to reserves. Do you really want me to go down the list? I have questions.
And you overspent, not overspent, but you spent, overspent on a lot on fuel because of the landfill fire.
The landfill fire did put a significant debt in our fuel budget. I believe it paid up the entire budget in just a matter of a couple of days. The original 2022 fuel budget would have been set in 2021.
Yeah.
Without knowing that, war in Europe was coming and going to increase diesel prices by 150%. So we've had to take that into account now.
Yeah.
And you're planning on leaving your paid call-out expense the same as you were budgeted for 2022. Excuse me, for 2022. Although actual was over, and we've already seen that your incident numbers are going up, so my question would be, why are you doing that?
So what that comes out of is the highway billing.
Yes.
That we bill the MTO.
Right?
So the paid call-out,
But those are increasing, right?
they are increasing. If you take a look at the fees for service.
Right.
You'll see it there is 26,847
Right.
coming in last year. We take a guess that we're gonna generate around 24,000 a year on that. And each truck gets billed out at a rate of about $550 an hour. So it's not hard to think 2 trucks out there for an extra hour or 2, and that's why you go
Right.
over. So it can vary greatly. You can go to 1 truck accident where you're there for 8 hours with 2 trucks, and suddenly you're
So even though your call-outs are increasing, you're more comfortable leaving it at the current levels in case they don't?
Well, if we were to ever have a year where we were under,
Uh-huh,
then we'd certainly have an issue.
okay.
Marlene, you want to speak
I was
to
just say,
that?
that's one of the resolutions at the end of the year, we take a look at, so we budget the same expense, the same revenue,
Mm-hmm,
each year, and then we take a look at what the actuals are in both of those accounts, and if there's a surplus, generally it gets moved to the truck reserve, because it will take us forever to be able to, save enough money to buy a new fire truck, right, like a brand.
okay,
whatever.
so that's good to know,
yeah.
that extra surplus, then it goes to
It goes to
reserves, it
reserve.
won't help offset some of the higher operating.
That's right, that's why
Okay,
operating, we
okay.
try to, like, stays, with itself.
And training, you're thinking about bringing back to where you were prior, and I'm guessing the lower number this year was because we had COVID and people weren't attending training.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we had a large number of things canceled.
Okay. And just so I'm clear, we have in your handy dandy attachment, hang on. Jeepers. For your capital, we have, excuse me, capital, we have SCABA cylinders, SCBA, is that, am I saying that right?
SCBA.
SCBA cylinders under a capital request. But then on your operating budget, we have the same item, hang on, let me find here, under PPE and uniforms as an operating expense, and we were way over in actuals compared to budgeted. So then my question becomes, how come it's in two spots,
The cylinders is a direct cylinder purchase,
right?
whereas the operating is the annual testing, maintenance, and replacement of masks, filters. That also includes things like gloves, which are disposable,
Okay.
boots, which get wrecked and become leaky or worn, and other PPE like that is all listed under there.
Okay, so then if you budgeted for 4,100 in 2022 and we're way over, then my follow-up to that would be, why does your 2023 say that practically the same?
There's only a slight increase there because those expenses that we incurred last year would be one-time repairs and changes to the equipment.
Somebody else asked a question, so I don't sound so cheap. Those were my big items. Equipment, scavenge, insurance. I mean, we're living it with the municipality. Insurance is insurance. Fuel, you explained. Okay. Those are the questions I had about operating, unless anybody else has got questions.
No, we can,
Yeesh.
Okay with that. So we go to the capital request for fire department.
So then, Martin, you tried to explain this to me. Marty tried to explain this to me a little earlier, but I'm not understanding English. Something's wrong. We have this list of capital requests, and a lot of this stuff makes absolute sense. But if it's like, the only thing I could compare it to was pulling a capital projects report from our budget report, Marlene.
Mhm.
And so my question is, how do we approve or disapprove any of these capital requests if we have no offset to it?
I would say that my recommendation would be not to approve this right now. I would say that on average, through taxation, it's been probably around the $50,000 mark, between 40 and 50, that's allocated to the fire department for the
capital?
turnout, for capital. So that's your turnout gear that you have to, like, Jan was saying, it's a requirement under health and safety, you really don't have a choice on doing that. But again, this is to say, I mean, part of it is a wish list. I would say a lot of what comes from the fire department really becomes a requirement, so there is a lot of
Because it's
investment.
PPE.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, there's a lot of investment that has to go into, you're sending people into burning buildings and into
Well, that's
hazardous
right.
areas, right? So, but again, this is just to give you an idea of what the wish list is looking like right now.
So I mean, I think before, Jan, you had some of this stuff prioritized.
Yeah.
But I don't
Yes.
see that here, or am I missing something?
No, but if you do take a look in order by the numbers,
By the numbers, yeah.
the higher the number, probably the more important it is. You'll see all your personal safety equipment near the top, and then the SCBA cylinders and equipment is there. And then you get an equipment and the facilities list under that where the numbers, as they go down, it's probably less critical. I could reorganize this to give you more of a explanation as to how high a priority it is.
I think what you said, like, what you had said to me, 1 to 8.
It's important.
1 to 8 is pretty well needed. And after that,
Yeah, there's
yeah,
room to
and,
negotiate.
and I mean, you take a look, like my question to Jan, and I just popped in, I wasn't even looking for him, I just popped in for a sandwich and he was there, and so my question to him was the fence, really. And it's 15.5 here for the fence, and the conversation I had with Jan wasn't that in the budget? Actually, I had the conversation with Marlene, wasn't that in the budget? And yeah, it was in the budget, and the fence is done, but the back portion is not done. So that's what represents the 15.5.
Right.
So it's not a,
Not a huge priority.
And it's number 18 on that list.
Right.
It's not a big priority. That is just the lowest quote number that I was able to get. The item could be pushed off to another year. Is not critical in my mind that it happen next year.
And
or this year.
19 is the same, lighting and electrical, that's not a priority.
That one's kind of highlighted in yellow because it's an arbitrary figure that I've put in there. I don't have quotes
don't actually.
on the work that's needed. There's a little bit in there that I think is required. Some of the outlets and wiring has to be upgraded from 15 to 20 amp.
Yeah,
Because when the building was built, the equipment was a lot smaller. And now we're getting equipment in that takes a lot more of a load. And some of that is for the lighting on the rear of the building that we talked about last year.
for security.
For security, to add the 2 yard lights. But the number is an arbitrary number.
Okay.
I don't have quotes on those.
So port account, what is that?
So the port account machine is also another thing that I believe might come off this list. This is, the port account machine is the mask fit testing equipment. Every year we have to prove that everybody's face mask fits them. And they have to be attached to the machine, and then there's a report generated.
So what'd you do in the past for that?
What we do right now is we wait until one of the companies that has one comes into town. And usually they're here for a day or two, and we ask everybody to come over, and we pay $80 or $100 a head to have everybody put through this machine.
So that's $6,000. Is that for
This
each municipality?
would be each municipality. The quote on the machine is $21,000.
So that's our portion.
This would be our portion. Annual calibration of the sensors is another $1,000 a year. So that would then become an annual $250 operating expense. To pay $21,000 for the machine, I think, was a little unreasonable because it would take us 10 or 15 years to
Just gonna say
make our money back on that. But if we were to do it with these other municipalities, then it becomes worthwhile. Right now, though, it's not looking like this project is gonna go forward this year
Okay.
because of where the other 3 municipalities in our group are at. So I suspect that is an item that is gonna come off this request.
Okay.
Look at that, within 10 minutes, we got it down to the 50. Yeah, it was
I'm
without
just
even
saying,
trying.
I know.
So yes, 6,000 there, 15,005 on the fence. So that would be 21,500 off of there. I will point out, there is a small math error on there. Line item 8 on the hard suction that we talked about earlier. I only put in the cost of 1 piece of hose instead of 2 there.
That was.
So that should be 2,455.07.
Okay.
And the total bottom line should be 73,412.24.
Okay.
That's
'Cause
my
that,
error.
That was the, no, but that was the one question I had, because it didn't line up. Why, and you probably covered this, like in very short, why would we need a fence?
The problem we're having in the backyard there,
Let me just ask you this, could it be due to a catastrophic, unbeknownst problem with water or dirt that would somehow catastrophically affect that? The only reason I'm asking is there just happens to be a grant for that kind of stuff right now. Maybe you can. I don't know. Why do you need a fence?
it's mostly for security of the property.
Okay, security. All right.
Yeah, we've had a lot of problem with kids and people going in there and stealing stuff.
Okay. You know, you just send me grant stuff every day, so I just figure I would just find a way to make it.
Oh, I think this one's.
And Marlene, did you have something?
Well, I was gonna answer your question.
Yeah,
that you
sorry.
dropped off. So you're asking about the fire truck purchase, that was done resolution 32222.
Right.
So that fire truck was not part of the original capital budget, but the resolution was passed and the funds will be coming from the fire truck reserve.
So that means that in 2022 you had assigned $59,765 in capital amount for the fire department that was not truck.
Correct. The truck was not included in that original budget. That's
So if I
correct.
take that resolution, that truck off the overspend, then I'll know how much we had left from last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you will have to remember that the resolution says 95,000 plus tax and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
That-
and
so
fees.
There will be more than the 95 that's sitting in that GL.
Damn it. She gives it and then she takes it away.
Glad you're good at math, Henry.
Okay, no, I was just thinking, okay, but there is going to be some left over. I'll work the math. Okay. Perfect.
Okay, so I really don't think we have to, I mean, there's the capital request, the inflatable house and all that's in there. I don't really think we gotta go down there tonight.
No, okay.
So I think we can move right to the Aqua cap, 2023 cap,
Right.
right? Thanks, Jan.
Yes, thanks for that.
Thank you, Chad. Again, lots of moving parts.
Mm-hmm. So here's the question I had about Aqua. In the December budget report, we had two amounts listed for capital equipment for sewer. One for sewer, 218,000, and then another 90,000 capital equipment for water. And it doesn't look like those amounts have been spent for 2022. Am I correct?
You didn't hear?
He's talking to you, sorry.
I believe those are the outstanding invoices that we just got from Aqua that haven't been
I'm sorry,
posted
what
yet.
was the question?
So, in the December budget variance report,
Okay,
I-
yes, no, we received, I will tell you, I think we received like 8 invoices from Aqua at the last week. So that report in December that you're looking at is to the end of November, is it not?
yes, it is.
Yeah, so we have invoices that are just getting posted to December from Aqua.
273,000?
Probably because there was one big project that they just finished
Okay.
that was budgeted. Like,
I was
no-
just thinking
no
it
need
was-
to panic there, but.
I was
yeah,
just thinking it was an easy, don't worry about it,
Yeah.
because we had it left over. Okay,
No.
never mind.
Sorry, I will pay attention.
Sorry, I just thought that was gonna be an easy, yeah, just give it to her because we had it left over, but never mind.
So I guess I always get confused with when it comes to the water. These dollar amounts, why are they not coming out of the water and sewer budget? Because are some of these not directly related to distribution of water? Not in terms of capital for the building? Like-
Yeah, that's confusing. It's always.
Like these,
Well,
these,
no,
these-
minor maintenance is operating, is what she's saying. It's the rest that's not.
yeah, but there's
Marlene?
10 grand for the smart meter for chlorination. That has to do with the distribution of water, so that should come out of water sewer fund,
No, that has to do with water treatment.
which then is still making water.
Yep.
Yeah, so what are the rules
So
for,
does that not, should that money not be coming from water sewer bills, not from taxation? Is where I'm always confused. And not confused, but I just don't, like, I've had it explained to me 500 times probably. But it's always such a gray area.
Right.
To me, that falls into, that has something directly to do with making the water safe, so it has to go into water funds, does it not? Or
From
no?
water reserves, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
From water billing.
From
is
water
what I'm talking
reserves.
about, yeah.
Okay,
Not from taxation.
so Marlene wants to answer you.
Yes.
Yeah.
On
Yes.
with your information that you have presented here, you'll see that, it's color coded, so it says, like, the blue stuff is stuff that's included in your operating budget,
Right.
whether it's water or it's sewer. The yellow stuff has to do with, it's a capital expenditure where it's not really part of, normal activities that go on in either plant or distribution or whatever, right?
Okay.
Capital generally, is not fully funded by your water department because your capital has to do with, all infrastructure, right? So although it may be water or not, there is no requirement for capital water or sewer to be funded through the operating departments.
could you say that again, Marlene, and just writing it down?
Yeah.
It's recorded, you know that, right? The meetings. You can always go back.
Forget about that.
Okay, so the argument is that, there's no way that you will be able to fund all of your capital projects out of your water and sewer operating rates.
Okay.
Like, when you passed your water and sewer operating departments, you
Yes.
still were not putting away into reserve what was being recommended to be put away into reserve. So there's no way that you're going to be able to spend $200,000 or whatever on a capital through your water and sewer rates. The idea is, your taxpayers benefit from treated water. All taxpayers benefit from treated water. Right?
Right?
But not all taxpayers have access to treated water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I would disagree with that statement. But I would disagree with that, because we know what goes on. That's a conversation for another day. But at the end of the day, because there has been some confusion, there is no requirement, and Nathan will reiterate, because I don't want to step on his toes here, but there is no requirement for your water and sewer operating to be funding all of your capital projects.
Many smaller municipalities have to look towards general taxation to cover some of these big capital costs.
So when
No,
when it's on this capital projects list here, then it's funded outside of the operating budget. And this is money that we're setting aside for specific capital projects. Off this. But there's two starred areas on the bottom. Here's the report here. That was the capital projects we had assigned for 2022, one to sewer, one to water. So they're outside of the sewer and water operating budget, which you always are telling me water and sewer operating expenses have to be funded, self-funded. So these capital projects then are tax funded. So they would be part of our budget.
Not always.
So I guess that's my issue, is the grayness of it, and it's hard because there's some people who aren't happy about the grayness of that, and it's hard to make it clear if it's not black and white.
Is generally your operating expenses are covered with the user fees. When we look into
Right.
capital,
Right.
it's through general taxation.
But sometimes it is through the water or sewer reserve. The one thing that I do want to point out on here, because part of the spreadsheet, the 35,000 for the process optimization, that's a carryover project. So you've already raised the money in 2022. You'll be transferring that money for the year end for 2022 and then transferring back. So you're not double raising the money. Right? And the other item was the one below it where it has to do with the SCADA computer upgrade,
Right.
right? So in 2022, you had $10,000 budgeted for that. That wasn't done. So this 30,000 includes the 10 from 2022, and there's an additional requirement for 2023. What SCADA does, that's gonna have, it's a computer system, it's hardware, it's software, it's necessary.
Yeah, no, she explained that to us on our
Okay,
tour,
good,
yeah.
'cause I would not pass that quiz, I will tell you that, but I did wanna point out that these two items, like I said, the 35,000 was already budgeted, so it's not money that you have to raise again in 2023. You're looking for $20,000 in the SCADA computer upgrades, in addition to the 10,000 that you budgeted, you levied in
Yes.
2022. So that drops a little bit of what what the request actually is.
So the unspent expected capital equipment expenses for sewer and water that were not spent in 2022 can be transferred over to reserves and then transferred back in and
That's right.
not have any taxation effect.
Yes,
So once we get these final numbers, we'll know what we had,
that's
what
right.
we've got left.
Any expectation on what that number would be? Ballpark?
It's too late in the day now to be asking me questions. And actually, I'm one of the ones that's usually cold. I am dying right now. I wish we had the heat like this in the other side of the building, but
So is it just pretty close or?
I think that if I recall, I think there was an unexpected around 18,000. I think that there was, and I'm gonna say that was at the water plant.
Unexpected expense.
expense that would be considered capital, right?
And not
But
operational.
was not part of their plan,
Yeah.
like their
From
plan
last
stuff.
year.
The other thing, earlier in the agenda, and I might be doing like a squirrel thing here, but I wanted to do a public service announcement, and we will be doing more education with Aqua going forward, but a lot of the cost for that clarifier,
Yes.
the second clarifier, and then that pipe, which I don't remember what it's called, but a lot of that cost is a direct result of people flushing stuff down the toilet. Don't flush anything down the toilet other than excrement. Basically, when it says it's a flushable wipe, it is not a flushable wipe. That's why we're paying so much money. That's why our equipment is dying down there, and that, like, don't even think about the regulations that are coming down. It has to do with what you're putting in your sewer system. We had a meeting on Thursday with Aqua. They found a pair of jeans that went through that place. So, like, you know, if people are complaining about the cost of everything, you need to be, you know, taking responsibility for your own actions. Don't put anything in the toilet other than what's supposed to be in the
What, are
toilet.
they lifting the sewer lids around town and stuffing jeans
I
down there?
think they-
How do you flush jeans?
We
down
have
They
no idea.
found it down, yeah, it's on,
Yeah.
yeah, I just went poof, like, oh my goodness, who would even think of doing something, like, well, maybe, I don't know, would it go down? I don't know, I do not understand it, but that's my public service announcement for tonight.
Okay.
So you've already, basically on here, that 35,000, you've already committed to that, so you're not recommitting to that.
Right.
Because you've already done the, work order.
Yeah.
It's already been
So-
signed, you guys are already doing it.
So we will know for the 2022 budget, we will have a better idea what final expenses were. I think you said in February, eh? There was a hydro bill or something that was coming out late?
We should have all of the December. Hydro bills by the second week of February.
Okay,
Yeah.
so in around the same time we're planning this meeting, we'll have harder numbers to look at to say this is what we
That's right,
hadn't spent,
that's right.
so that we'll be able to make better decisions. I'm good with that. Okay.
Now this, my question is the $90,000 expense here?
Yeah.
Why ain't we going out trying to find some money?
We are actively looking for grant money. It's been missing in the process, so, I mean, it's been kind of ignored, and it needs to be addressed. So we have, had Kim looking for some grant money there.
I think more or less, you know, Tammy, just bringing this to your attention, that it is something that would be required.
Right, we've talked with her about this.
We want to find funding in order to cover it, but just depending on how strict that
Do not pass go, do not collect, do not.
No, and some of the final numbers, I mean, we might be able to steal from Peter K. Paul.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
But yeah,
we gotta get better at that.
yeah,
And I'm not putting blame on, but we
No,
gotta, we
every-
gotta
yeah,
get
everywhere.
better at, we gotta get better.
They're looking for grant money and
yeah, and
looking
it
for
cutting off
grant
some
money
expenses,
to-
yeah.
To cover certain expenses. Not just here, not just in water and sewer, but I mean,
Everywhere.
that
Everywhere.
definitely, that you'll see later on in the meeting if we get to that part. We got a budget review coming up with Patty, and, that's gonna be one of the things, is we gotta get
Hey,
some,
we need
gotta
this.
get some
We
water
gotta
and
do money
sewer
for us,
money.
yeah.
We gotta get some water and
Yeah.
sewer money, but we gotta get that sewer.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's here nor there.
Yeah.
We
Thank
have to get better at,
Okay.
90,000 doesn't seem like a heck of a lot of money. It's a
It's a
heck of a
lot.
lot of money for a little town.
It
Yeah.
is for us, yeah.
And it's all regulation, so it's a tough thing, cause
Oh,
you
no,
have to.
for
No,
sure.
and you explained to us why we need, we can 100% get it, but it's
Yeah.
just,
but how do we get better at that? Pursuing that grant money with,
Well, we do get like hundreds of thousands of dollars of grant money each year.
Yeah.
It's, just continuing it, right?
Well, no, and we do, it's just,
Yeah.
It's so time consuming for you, or, I mean,
Well, that's part of strategy and part of the FSBA position, like one of their main
Yeah, okay,
focuses
that was her-
is applying for
Mhm.
every grant. We have a grant inventory service where we take a
Yeah.
look at all the grants
Yeah.
available.
Yeah.
And we
like, we're at the point where,
pursue it.
do we?
we're at the point where, we need to stop what we're doing and look at our infrastructure and fix some of our infrastructure, and we're gonna get nailed to the cross, cause we're not gonna be doing anything except fixing our old infrastructure, but nobody's gonna see that.
No,
But we have to do that.
we do.
But there's gonna be people out there that want 33 more parks. You know what I mean?
I know, but that asset management plan, although better, it talks about all of these different things, and that's the other thing that's not lost, is that we have to keep moving money into reserves, but you and I, well, I'm of the opinion we gotta be more creative, like with grants and using up money that maybe we didn't spend last year, so that we don't have to place such a heavy tax burden
Right.
on people here in Schreiber. Anyways, we could go.
So we're probably good there with Aqua.
I think, yeah.
We
Once
got
we
the
get to the
gist
final
of it.
numbers too, we'll have a better idea.
Yeah, we got the gist of it, and then we'll have better numbers on the 16th.
So we'll bring this forward on the 16th.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it for the preliminary budget stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to other business. The NOMA 2023 conference information.
This will be at the Victoria Inn Hotel and Convention Center in Thunder Bay. It's gonna be happening Wednesday, April 26th to Friday, April 28th. Generally for this one, we have, I think myself and is it 2 counselors that typically attend, Cecile?
Usually all council.
All council attend Nova? It is in Thunder Bay.
The two, when they're in Thunder Bay. But all of council is not gonna be able to attend, I don't think.
No, I expect to be away during these dates. I won't be here in town.
But I can go. Nathan.
I'll go, yeah.
Dave, you're going?
I work.
Oh, you work?
Yeah.
So I would say, we haven't booked rooms, right?
No.
I would say, well, 4 rooms.
Just follow up with Benji maybe.
Yeah. If that's the info you were looking for?
We can get in touch with Benji before we
Yeah.
reorder. Perfect.
Okay, number 2 is the AMO conference.
So this will be taking place in London, Ontario. It will be starting on Sunday, August 20th and ending on Wednesday, the 23rd.
We have 3 rooms booked.
That'd be a good one for you, Anne Marie.
I could probably attend this one. Unless you wanna go,
No,
Yeah, I'll let you know if I can go to that one.
I haven't got anything planned for the end of August.
I can skip one. No, I mean, if
Nice.
we get if it fills up.
When do you, it said
Dave or
by, it said
Benji.
by March, Cecile? March 3rd or something, it's the deadline, early bird rates.
Yes, until 4 p.m. on March 3rd.
I got some time to figure it out.
You voted, right?
There's 3 rooms booked.
Yeah,
So just
we
the
said
rooms.
3 people would go, including yourself. So it's just a matter of,
2 counts.
Okay,
okay, number 3, the draft workplace violence and harassment policy.
Just an FYI, we do have an existing workplace violence, an existing harassment policy. We're combining it together. This was a long time in the works through our joint health and safety committee.
Long.
Long. So we've got to this stage, and again, the goal of the document is to make a pretty straightforward, easy to understand process of if someone is encountering any violence or harassment, they should be able to look at this policy to easily identify, what they're facing, and figure out what they can do about it. So it's purposefully quite concise and to the point. And if there's any comments or concerns or anything like that, just let me know.
I went through it, looks good, I like it.
I went through it and I sent you comments.
Yeah, so they fill out the top and then they write the details in this portion right here, where they would like include the location of where it
On
happened.
the appendix side.
And that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Do you need that like written, like details of like where it happened and that, or is that just understood?
With all what you say incidents, I have to get everything in writing, so.
No, I know. I'm thinking of like my work,
Oh,
how
okay.
our form. It's
Mhm.
like date, time, location, and all that is on there. So I'm wondering, do we need that? Like, you just don't have a location anywhere on here.
Oh, yeah, that I could update, that's certainly.
Just was something I would maybe add.
Yep.
Just like where it took place.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely update that form.
Yeah, ours has like the location of the incident and then like the location of where you're filing the form or whatever. I don't know why, but that's it happened like in a classroom and then
Okay, number 4, the flag request.
So they just want a flag,
You were talking to them, eh, John?
Yes, I was, yes.
Okay.
And
So-
you understand it better than,
Yeah, they're looking for a flag from her hometown.
Yeah.
That would be put in
She's a
like
Schreiber
a
girl.
retirement shadow box.
yeah, no, I got that, but
Yeah.
from my understanding, they want a Canadian flag, like they don't want the Township of Schreiber flag.
They did request a Canadian flag, yeah.
That we've actually
No.
used.
Now, that said, I never clarified whether they knew a town flag existed.
Like, that's, I mean, I got no problem, I know Debbie personally, I got no problem.
so they just
I
want
got
a
no
picture
problem doing it, I just wanna be
They want a picture of
clear.
it flying.
of the flag flying, so it could be a new flag, you put it up, take
For
a
one day,
picture.
take the picture and in the
and
box
then-
it goes.
And then that's the flag.
I thought it was cool that they were asking for one that specifically had been flown over
Yeah.
the municipality. I thought that was cool.
But
It's a cool idea.
But it may be worthwhile, like to Jan's point, maybe they don't realize that there is a municipal flag.
Yeah.
Would that be something they would rather
I can
have?
ask them.
Yeah.
There's also the possibility they want both.
Yeah, so,
In general, then, is council okay with this?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it, anybody that's
However, which way you
yeah,
proceed
well,
with
that's,
it.
Yeah.
somebody. that-
Okay.
somebody that
spends
grew
our
up
whole
here
career.
and
Yeah.
Still
We'll take
feeling,
care of it then.
yeah, it's that's kind of neat that people that grew up here still have that strong connection to the community.
It is. Yeah. I thought that was really
Very
cool.
important.
Okay, number 5,
These are the federal budget consultation meetings, as Mayor Mullins was discussing here. It's an opportunity for us to request potentially funding for our wastewater treatment plant. Again, a key element that we're looking for funding and we keep lobbying for funding is for that UV project. There's an opportunity to attend in person and there's an opportunity to attend via Zoom. So I can certainly put it on here.
I replied already and said to send me a Zoom link
Okay,
just to do virtually. I don't know if anybody else has, but
okay.
So you're gonna put it up here?
I can put it up
Sure.
there.
yeah, That's what we're thinking of doing, is
Perfect.
doing the,
The Zoom at 2:00.
The only thing
Right.
is, you can probably only do 2 counselors here, so.
so you're
Oh,
already
but she was
registered.
right,
Council
right.
meeting.
So
So
you're
listen,
registered? I mean,
I'm-
no, that's, now, that was the whole intent, was bring
Yeah.
it up tonight. Me and Nathan were talking about
Yep.
it. And we can't have everybody, we can't, you know what I mean?
no, because that's a council meeting, no. So even if a couple of you want to attend here, and I'll just keep it the registration I get from home.
As long as someone
keep
asks for
forgetting that.
money.
Pardon me?
So as long as someone asks her for money.
Yep.
Yeah, no, we're
Yeah.
gonna put something together, yeah. So,
There's 2 of them, eh?
one basically is for the other,
The earlier ones for in person.
In person,
in-person Thunder Bay.
Yeah.
North,
and the second one is the virtual one.
and that's us.
It's only 1 hour long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll let her know then, I guess then it's 3 of you that's interested, so. The 3 of us then joining.
yeah, I'm coming here, so.
Yeah, and I had already replied and said to send me a Zoom link.
Okay.
Just so that, because I know what you're saying, you need to be careful about how many counselors you have. It's not a council meeting, it's, yeah, it's
No,
Zoom.
yeah, but-
Yeah, I got you.
Yep.
Okay.
Just to avoid any perception off it being, we would have to
No,
properly
no, that's fine.
announce the meeting. So.
No, that's fine.
Right, so, okay, number 6, February 2023 meeting schedule.
Just so everyone's aware, the next committee, the whole meeting will be on Valentine's Day. So I just wanted to make sure that it would not be affecting anyone's Valentine's Day plans and that we do have quorum here.
We're gonna be here till 10.
Possibly. There any preferences to?
I'm good for whatever you set up. I have meetings already scheduled in the month, but you let me know and I'll
Let me know.
work you in.
If you prefer a lighter agenda, I can try to look at that too. Can't make any promises of what will pop up.
No.
But
We gotta do
No,
it.
there's-
We gotta nail what comes at us.
Exactly.
I don't care.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm okay.
And then we're meeting again on the afternoon of the 16th.
I'm 16 so far, yeah.
So everyone's okay?
Yeah, and then
Let me even
14th,
send a text to
16th,
check
and then
and
the
say, hey.
28th, right?
Nice husbands, man. I'm sick. There you go, there. Council meeting, okay?
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so that brings us to the end. So resolution 32-23, moved by Councillor Bourgeot, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that the meeting now adjourn at 9:45 PM. All those in favor?